So Ben, last time you were on my podcast, we recorded and then you kind of went into hiding to write Metabolic Freedom. And I didn't hear from you for a long time. And then you came back with this absolute incredible book that you dedicated to your dad.
Yes.
So I'm excited about getting into it with you, what you learned researching this and writing this book. And also like how incredible that your father's personal health journey inspired you.
Yeah, thank you, Iman. I love the work that you do. It was an honor being on your show about 2 years ago.
Yes.
And I focused and I got this out into the world, officially out into the world. And yeah, my father passed away from the complications of diabetes. As we know, it's a metabolic disease that's preventable, reversible. Unfortunately, we weren't aware of that. And I dedicated the book to him. So I'm super excited to talk about it today. Grateful that it's out into the world.
I mean, people have been loving it, and I'm really excited to dive into it now as well. Having done all the research that you had done previously, what surprised you when you started writing Metabolic Freedom? What was the new tidbits of information or research you found or like new modalities out there that you didn't know about before?
Well, the book is focused on the metabolism. So I took a deep dive into a lot of studies in the metabolism. And I used to think that the metabolism operated by speed. We hear about it. You know, I want a fast metabolism, or my metabolism is slow. I want to speed it up. I want to boost it. But to my surprise, the metabolism doesn't operate by speeds. It's either efficient or it's inefficient. And Iman, if we're trying to boost the metabolism to try to make it burn more calories, it actually accelerates aging. And the animals that are in the wild that have the fastest metabolism have the shortest lifespan. Whoa. So it's not about speed or boosting it. It's about efficiency.
That just blew my mind. I had no idea, because all of us go through life being like, I want a really like fast metabolism because I want to be fit forever. And wow.
That's not the goal. We want a flexible, what I call metabolically free metabolism. So there's one study, a key study that I looked at that I put in the book. It was a 2022 study from Duke University. And this study, probably the most comprehensive study ever done on the actual metabolism. And it gives hope to a lot of people. And I'll share the study. It looked at 6,600 people, and it involved multiple countries. So it wasn't just the US, it was the US and about 5 other countries. And it took the age ranges of these participants from age 1, so a baby, to age 95 and everybody in between. 6,600 people, and it measured their metabolism, their metabolic rate through this gold standard. It was a urine test. And here's what the study showed. It showed that our metabolism doesn't slow down, doesn't change at all between ages 20 and 60 years old. There are no changes.
That's a huge range.
Huge range. But here's what it also said. It said at age 60, they noticed about a 0.7% decline in the metabolism every year after age 60, which might sound like bad news, but the study said the only reason that happens is loss of muscle mass. So if you build lean muscle mass in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, or even if you're over 60 and you start working on lean muscle mass, you could be 95 years old with the same metabolism as when you were 25 years old. Super cool.
That is insane. And so we, as a society, have just been focused on the wrong thing then, completely.
Yeah, we're
focused
all
the science has been wrong so
correct.
far.
As usual, as you know. It's usually the opposite of what mainstream talks about, yes.
What does it mean to be metabolically free?
Well, the opposite, I'll start with the opposite, and that'll lead me to what it means to be metabolically free. You know these stats because you're very much involved with the MAHA movement, and I love that. In the United States, we spend $4.6 trillion every year on healthcare. And you would think, okay, that means we're probably the healthiest country in the world. Well, we're not even top 10, top 20, not even top 30. Yet we're sicker than ever before, and pharmaceutical companies are richer than ever before. And what's interesting, out of that $4.6 trillion we spend every year, 1 out of every $4 is spent on diabetes, primarily type 2, which you and I both know it's 100% preventable, 100% reversible. It's a metabolic disease. 93% of Americans are stuck burning sugar. They have an inefficient metabolism. They're not metabolically free. They're in a metabolic prison. They have to rely on snacking, grazing, carbohydrates, processed junk food every few hours to get a short burst of glucose and energy, which is not long-lived. And God forbid they skip a meal, they will get hangry, which is hungry and angry. Yeah. And just picture this. If somebody's metabolically unhealthy, like 93% of Americans, a mom or a dad that's at the postal store, they're in line, ready to ship a package. I'm just kind of paint a picture of the average person. If it's been 2 or 3 hours and they've gone without food, they're going to be in that line, irritable, a jerk to the teller, a jerk to people around them. They can't focus because they need food just to get by their day. Exactly. That is not metabolic freedom. Metabolic freedom is being able to go hours, days, heck, weeks without food if you want to, and use your own body fat for energy, produce ketones, fuel the brain. You could burn sugar when you want and have carbohydrates, and then burn fat when you want and don't eat and just burn your own body fat. That's metabolic freedom.
So typically, how many meals do you think we need a day then, based on that theory? Like, how much should we be eating?
Okay.
For a man and for a woman?
Okay, first I'll share this study I put in the book. This is a study from Dr. Don Klum. He looked at hundreds of patients and he had them write down every time they ate something, whether it was a meal or a snack. And the average American is eating 17 to 23 times a day.
What?
That's right.
No.
17 to 23 times per day. It sounds like a made-up stat because it sounds impossible. But if you think about it, okay, it's not just sitting down at a meal, Iman, and eating a whole meal. It's the grazing. Even if it's healthy snacks like a handful of almonds or cashews or a protein shake or a kombucha bar, every time you raise glucose and insulin, it's a meal to the body. And the average person does that 17 to 23 times a day. We are not designed to eat that many times.
Absolutely.
We are designed to have our meals within a 6 to 8 hour eating window. And usually it's about 2 to 3 meals that are protein focused with healthy fats lower on the carbohydrate variety. Not 17 to 23 times a day, maybe 2 to 3 times a day max.
And so given that research that you now have, and obviously you've shared it in the book as well, let's go through somebody in their 20s, 30s, and 40s and into their 50s. How many meals should a woman be eating versus a man? And how many calories should we be taking in then?
Okay, so women definitely do this differently than men. And women who have a menstrual cycle do it differently than women who are postmenopause and even perimenopause. Yeah. There's a lot of variables at place to give you an exact answer. Women should eat this amount, but I would say this. If you're a woman right now and you're under a lot of stress, whether it's mental, emotional stress, work stress, family stress, physical stress like an injury, you really shouldn't be doing that much fasting or that much ketosis because those are also stressors. And this is the Biohack-it podcast. You shouldn't be doing a whole bunch of biohacks either.
Absolutely.
Cold plunge sauna, I love that stuff, but they're all stressors. You slowly adapt to it. So you want to be more feasting if you're a woman under stress, or even a man in that case, but women definitely. Now, if you're a woman who has a menstrual cycle, the week before your period is the week that you don't want to fast, you don't want to do ketosis, you want to feast healthy carbohydrates.
And the week off your cycle is when you're actually supposed to be fasting.
Perfect, exactly. So when hormones are low, which is the week of the bleed week, as we call it, that's when fasting and ketosis is high. Yeah, so that's exactly how you want to do it. Now, for postmenopausal women, the consideration is the adrenal glands, because when the ovaries go into retirement, which is mandatory, I like the way Dr. Anna Kabeka says it. She says, menopause is mandatory, but suffering is optional.
Absolutely.
So I love that she says that, and she's so true. She's so right. So the adrenals need to be supported, and oxytocin is the love chemical and hormone that you want to support when you're going through postmenopause. So laughter, watching funny movies, hugging your dog, you're a dog lover like I am, hugging your cat or pets, gratitude, finding ways to produce oxytocin, and do a hormone test, do a touch test, look at what your hormones look like. So men could be aggressive, we could fast. That's why men lose weight typically faster than women. We have a 24 recycling pattern for our hormones. Women is a little bit different.
Also, you don't have cellulite.
We don't have cellulite.
I hate you for that.
Some men do. I've seen some men with cellulite.
They're few and far between, but I really hate the male species for it, because I'm we suffer from it, and the men are just nope.
Yeah.
We found we still don't have it.
They eat pizza and they're fine. My fiance always says, men have a lot easier than women.
100%. We have to do 20 things to look good. You also explained something called the mindset barrier. And how do you overcome something like that?
That's the biggest thing. I could tell people what to eat, their macros, ketosis, do this amount of cold plunge, you take these supplements. But if you don't have the right self-image of yourself, you will sabotage yourself. You cannot outperform your self-image. And chapter 10 is my favorite chapter in the book, and it's all about how your thoughts influence your metabolism, and it gets into the self-image concept. I love the chapter. It's the best chapter in the book. I love it so much. My next book, which I already started writing, it's all about chapter 10. It's an expansion. It's called Mental Freedom. I talk about the self-image. I'll give you an example of what I mean by that, and then I'll relate it to somebody who's trying to lose weight. The way that we view ourselves, it's not a conscious thing. It's self-conscious. It's subconscious, excuse me. It's in the subconscious mind. So there's a book that came out in the 1960s called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. And this book, the author called it the greatest physiological discovery of his generation. He was a world-renowned plastic surgeon, and he would work on patients that had really severe facial disformities. They were either born that way or they went through an accident, but they had really severe facial disformities. And they were very self-conscious. They were depressed. They were unhappy because of the way they looked. So they hired this plastic surgeon to perform surgery. And he did a phenomenal job. But he noticed even after the surgery, they were still unhappy. They were still depressed. And they were still self-conscious because their self-image still identified
With that.
with the facial disfigurement. Some of them even looked in the mirror. Even though the facial disfigurement was gone, we'll actually see it in front of them, even though it was not there. When he changed their self-image, then they were happier, healthier, not depressed. See, we cannot outperform the self-image. Okay, let's relate that to the health space. Somebody's overweight, their self-image is, I'm an overweight person. That was mine for 20 years. I shared on my previous podcast with you my story. And I can make a conscious decision. We can make a conscious decision. I'm going to lose weight. And I'm going to do keto or fasting or whatever it is. And we'll start to lose, let's say, 7 pounds the first month. But we didn't work on the self-image. We still identify with the overweight person. So we'll lose 7 pounds the first month. And then the next month, we'll find a way to find the weight that was lost. And we'll gain those 7 pounds back. And in some cases, it's 9 pounds because we want to match that self-image. So we need to reprogram the subconscious mind. How do you do that? You literally write down on a card, and I talk about this in chapter 10, your new self-image. And you write it in present tense because the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what is made up and what is a fact. It accepts everything as truth. So you write the words, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and you write this beautiful new self-image of yourself.
Like a love letter to yourself.
Like a love letter to yourself. And you read it every morning when you wake up, when the subconscious mind is most impressionable, right before bed. And you take it with you everywhere you go. And you do that for 30 days. After 30 days, you now replace the old image of yourself with this new image. Then you stop sabotaging yourself.
And so how do you feel like nervous system dysregulation plays into this as well? Because I always hear about these people, they're like, we're trying to do this supplement, we're trying to do this biohack, but I'm like, how are you regulating yourself internally? Like, how are you healing if you're really into health and wellness?
You're spot on. The nervous system is everything.
Right.
If we have a symptom right now, it's because the nervous system is out of balance. And as you know, we have two branches. We have our sympathetic nervous system, which is adrenaline, cortisol, fight or flight. Very important in spurts, like when you're working out or somebody's chasing you. Then we have the parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, detoxification, relax. That's also important in spurts, but you don't want to be locked into either. You want to have a good balance of sympathetic versus parasympathetic. How do you know if you have a good balance? Well, heart rate variability.
Right.
That is the greatest metric for your nervous system. You want to track your heart rate variability. I have two. I'm testing the Whoop band. So I have a Whoop band. I have the Aura Ring.
Which one do you prefer?
This is my second day with the Whoop band.
So I'm going to come back to you in a week or two.
Come back to me. So far, I would say I like the Ring better than a watch because it's not as comfortable.
Yeah.
I worked out with it today and I slept with it, so it's just a little
you're
weird.
Still getting used to it.
But
yeah.
I'm still getting used to it. But either way, you could use a Whoop band, an Aura Ring. You can use an Apple Watch or a Fitbit. The goal is to just track it and then get your average HRV, which is yours is going to be different than mine. So get a 7-day average, and then you work on increasing it.
Right.
If you see your HRV decrease on a day you did extreme workout or a cold plunge, too much coffee, too much fasting, your nervous system didn't adapt to the stress. So that's the key to monitor the HRV.
What is a healthy HRV? What should it look like in a woman and in a man?
It's
average. Like, what should it be?
It's hard to answer because it's so different for everyone.
But a regulated nervous system, what does a regulated nervous system you think look like?
Yeah, I would say, if you're between, depends on your age and health. It's hard to tell you a range. I would say this, if you're under 20, it's low. Men or women, depending what your age is. A better answer would be, because I get that question a lot, a better answer would be find your average and work on increasing it.
Okay.
As long as you're increasing it, you're doing something right. I'll give you an example. When I first got the Aura Ring, and I was one of the first adopters, I got mine in 2018.
Wow, you're an OG.
I'm an OG. I got grandfathered in. I don't have to pay a membership fee or anything, right? So my heart rate variability back then was around like 37. Was my average.
That's really low.
That was like, I was 32, 33. Yeah. It's kind of, I would say a little bit low for that person, but I was doing CrossFit. I had a moldy home at that time, right?
Yeah.
Unaware of that. Now my HRV is around 65. So I almost doubled it, right? So as long as you find your average And over the next 30 days, 60 days, and then a year, you work on increasing it. That's really all that matters.
When you're coaching people and you're going through all of this and helping people really get into their best shape, you know, and giving all this like health advice online as well, if somebody comes to you and says, Ben, how do I regulate my nervous system? How do I put myself into rest and digest? So HRV is a really good way to track it, that I can tell if I'm stressed or not. But a lot of people don't have patience to sit there and do a 20-minute meditation. People just don't have time, and they're putting all these stressors on their bodies, such as cold plunging, saunas, all that stuff. What are 3 quick tips that you would give people listening on how to regulate their nervous system?
Okay, I love the question. The first one would be to avoid eating at least 3 hours before bed.
Okay.
And if you could push that to 5 hours, even better. Without fail, every time I eat right before bed, those late dinners, I do not like them.
Yeah.
My HRV drops. And I've seen this with thousands of students as well. So if we give ourselves at least 3 hours of fasting before bed, we'll give ourselves time to digest, and HRV should go up. So no food before bed. That's the first tip. Second tip is to mouth tape before bed.
Mouth tape? Do you think it really works?
It works. I've been doing it every day, every night for years. You should see the way my face looks today versus what it looked like in 2018. I look like a completely different human being.
Because you got more oxygen in.
More oxygen, my jaw is more defined. And I've done some other things with the biological dentist for my teeth and all that.
Right.
But the mouth taping is something I've done every night for years. And it does, look, here's the problem with the mouth tape. A lot of people don't fix the structural issues that they need to fix with a biological dentist, and they just mouth tape. That's not going to correct the issue. You got to work with the biological dentist, but it will train you to breathe through your nostril, through your nose at night. When you breathe through your nose at night, you produce nitric oxide, and that raises your heart rate variability, gets you into a parasympathetic rest and digest state, and you get deeper fat burning sleep. When you breathe through your mouth, like most people do when they sleep, and you'll know because you wake up with your mouth dry, you're depleting nitric oxide, and you're causing stress hormones to increase overnight. So by mouth taping, you're training your body to breathe through your nose. And just be conscious throughout the day when you're not talking to breathe through your mouth, your nose, versus your mouth. The third tip, this is going to surprise you. It's actually wearing an eye mask at night, but it's not, the reason why is not what you think. So the reason why we would want to wear an eye mask at night, like a black, those blackout.
Blackout.
Is not necessarily for the light, although that's beneficial. But what I learned from Dr. Peter Martoni, who's Dr. Sleep Right is his nickname. He's a good friend of mine. He said, when you wear a sleep mask, and I tested this after he shared it with me, and you have that light pressure that it applies, it activates your vagal tone and your parasympathetic nervous system, and it'll signal to your body you're safe, and it bumps up your heart rate variability. So the first night that I tried it, my HRV went up, and then it's continued to stay up. And I've tried this with students, and they all tell me the same thing. So you want to wear it because of the light pressure that it has, and it activates that parasympathetic response. Those are all 3 tips at night. Should I give one more throughout the day?
We want to hear a day
So because I was just kind of giving a nighttime routine. When I do the carnivore diet, my HRV goes through the roof. When I get rid of plant toxins, we spoke about like spinach and kale and almonds. We could revisit that because those went viral.
Oh, that went people were fighting in the comments. And I was like, guys, you got really activated by this conversation.
Yeah, we should revisit that.
Yeah, we should.
Create some clips.
But
when you avoid these plant toxins and do just meat for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days max, your HRV will go up. I've seen that time after time. Yeah.
If you know me, you know I avoid seed oils like the plague. They're everywhere, even in snacks labeled as clean, organic, or healthy. But the truth is, they wreak havoc on your metabolism, your hormones, and make you super inflamed. That's why I'm obsessed with Prima, one of the few products I completely trust. Prima was created to push back against processed artificial foods and bring us back to real, nutritional, ancestral ingredients that actually nourish your body. It's packed with 100% grass-fed beef tallow, grass-fed collagen, and grass-fed whey protein, delivering bioavailable nutrients for muscle recovery, joint health, and overall vitality without any of the junk. No seed oils, no refined sugars, no artificial additives, and the best part, it's one of the few products that is certified seed oil safe. I always keep Prima stocked in my bag. It's my go-to post-workout, between meetings, or anytime I need an easy, high-quality protein boost. Getting in at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight can be really tough, but it's essential for building and maintaining muscle as you age or going through a fertility journey in your 40s and 30s like I am. And the flavor is delicious. Cacao, mocha, and salted caramel. You really can't go wrong. My favorite flavor is the salted caramel, plus the Prima bars are sweetened with organic raw honey and only contain organic whole food ingredients. ingredients. So you're fueling your body with real clean nutrition. Because you're part of the Biohack-it community, you get 20% off. Just use code IMAN20 at eatprima.com. Ditch the seed oils, fuel your body right. You will feel the difference, I promise.
I have a question because I always look at things like from the health lens, but also spiritual lens. We all live in such a digital age nowadays. We have to show up a certain way, behave a certain way. What about people who are living inauthentically to their true selves?
Yeah, that's going to destroy your health
Right?
and nervous system.
Right? So I just go through life thinking how many people are too scared to really be truly who they are and are just so scared for showing up how they authentically want to, because that would either destroy the vision of the life that they've built or just not be who they pretend to be.
Yeah.
So what advice would you have for anybody listening to this who says, maybe I'm not living my life authentically and they want to go on a health and wellness journey, but you can't out-supplement that shit, right? So
100%.
what do they do?
Yeah, so good. I'm so glad you brought that up. You're going to love chapter 10 because I talk about that too. I would estimate that 97% of people do not live on purpose with their purpose. They're living, as you just said, like inauthentically. There's a great book called
They're living for other people.
For other people. Have you heard of the book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying? This is a really good book. It came out like in 2015 or 16. That's when I read it. Bonnie Ware is the author, and she was a hospice nurse in Australia, either Australia or New Zealand, I forget, somewhere over there. And she surveyed hundreds of people on their deathbed, and she asked them all the same question: what is your number one regret? And the number one regret of dying people on their deathbed was living a life of what others expected of them, not what they felt was true to them in their core. Exactly what you just said. It's the number one regret of dying people. When you live on purpose with your purpose, you regulate your nervous system.
Absolutely.
You have all the energy. I think a lot of people are not tired, they're uninspired. They're just going through the motions.
Yes.
They're tiptoeing their way through life, hoping to land safely on death's door. We don't want to do that. They're afraid of what people are going to think. Well, I got news for you. People don't think. They don't even worry about it. They're worried about themselves.
Forget that,
Who cares?
Yeah.
You're not living your life for somebody else. And when you find what's important to you, you've done this. I've done it too. We're living it. And you live congruently with that purpose, you are going to be unstoppable. You're going to have all the energy.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel tired or fatigued. You're going to have to force yourself to go to bed because you have so many ideas.
Excited,
You're so excited. Exactly.
I always say when you live truly in your authenticity, you are unfuckable.
That's right.
And it is because you know that your life is so authentic to you. It does not matter what anybody thinks or what anybody says or what anybody expects of you. But you know you're waking up every damn day to be so honest to the reason you're here on this earth and the purpose that you have to live. And each one of us is unique,
Right.
And I think that is true freedom.
That is true freedom, 100%. And when you do that, your health improves. You start to eat healthier because you want to take care of your body.
Absolutely.
Because you want to have the energy to do the things that you now are doing and love and enjoy doing. I remember when I was not living on purpose with my purpose, I would wake up in the morning with dread. I would wake up with stress, just thinking about the day.
The things that you have to do.
Yeah, things I have to do. Now, every morning I wake up, whether I'm here in Miami or I'm traveling, I wake up and I'm grateful, I'm excited, I look forward to the day. And I want everybody to wake up like that.
Yeah.
When you find what's important to you, and the cool thing about that, you said it, it's unique to you.
Yeah, everybody's completely
Everybody's different. So somebody listening or watching, their true purpose could be, I want to be the best mom for my children.
Amen.
And to a wife to my husband. And that is a worthy goal. If that's what you're I love it. Be the best mom, right? Or you could, I want to be the best speaker in the world. I want to be the...
Yes, and you are phenomenal at it, by the way.
Thank you. So that's what lights me up, right? So we want to find whatever lights you up and live on purpose with that purpose.
I wanted to go back to one of the things you talked about earlier that last time just blew up the podcast, the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
So can we kind of visit this? When you came on last time, you had done, I think it was 30 or 90 days straight. Yes. And you've done your gut test before and a gut test after.
Yes.
So can we talk about what you discovered just to revisit that conversation?
Yeah, for sure. So I did 90 straight days of meat, all animal products. So no fiber, no carbohydrates, no vegetables, just beef, eggs. I had goat and sheep cheese, just anything from an animal.
Liver,
organ meat. Yeah, exactly. Anything from an animal. And I did comprehensive blood work on day one, $3,500 panel at LabCorp, looking at my thyroid panel, hormones, inflammatory markers, lipids, everything. And I did a stool test on day 1 as well, looking at my gut microbiome. I threw on a continuous glucose monitor, looked at my Oura ring for like HRV and all that. Then I went 90 days straight. After 90 days, I retested everything. But first of all, before the test results, I noticed my skin complexion improved dramatically. Like there was a glow to my skin on day 90 that I didn't have on day 1. The toilet, I was swiping a lot less. And every gut microbiome expert will tell you, the less toilet paper you use, the
better,
healthier your gut. And I was using a lot less toilet paper. I had no gas, no burping, no belching.
No swelling.
No smelling. I typically don't have gas, but sometimes when I have a lot of carbs, it might happen. But with Carnivore, 0 gas. My fiance loved that, of course.
Yeah.
And I lost 16 pounds, which I didn't think I needed to lose, but my muscle mass preserved because I tracked that. And I shed 6% body fat during those 90 days. So I got a lot leaner. Muscle mass stayed the same. The labs were really interesting because my labs looked good on day 1 because I was healthy, but on day 90, they looked even better. Like inflammation was great on day 1. It was even better on day 90. So I looked at C-reactive protein, homocysteine. My blood sugars looked great, A1C, fasting insulin. The lipids looked great. Now, the lipids were interesting. Yeah. And I had a heart surgeon review my cholesterol panel, and he has done surgery on 5,000 people. His name is Dr. Philip Ovadia. Because my total cholesterol on day 1 was over 300, which was already high.
Yeah. And you're like, shit, should I really be doing this?
Yeah. No, I wasn't like that. But most people would be thinking that.
Terrified.
I wasn't because... So let me just backtrack. So day 1 was over 300 total cholesterol. On day 90, it went to 450. Okay? Let's continue going because there's more to the story. LDL was around... I forget the top of my head, 200-ish on day 1, which is already high.
Yeah.
Went to 350 on day 90. However, my HDL, which we know is protective, it's like the artery's janitorial system, was over 60 both times. It actually increased on day 90, which is protective. My triglycerides, which we know we don't want high, it's like fat in your bloodstream, it's inflammatory, was under 70 both times, which is optimal. And the LDL particle sizes were all the large, fluffy, healthy variety, not the small, sticky, problematic kind. Inflammation was optimal. So the heart surgeon said you were at very low risk of heart disease on day 1, and after 90 days of carnivore, even less of a risk.
Yeah. Insane, right?
It's insane, opposite of what you think. The stool test, you would think.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was interesting because we know that diversity in the gut microbiome is king, queen, and everything in between when it comes to longevity.
Absolutely.
We want more beta diversity. And when I did my stool test on day 1, my diversity was average. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. And the recommendation that came back on the stool test report was to eat more fiber, less keto, less meat, more vegetables and polyphenols. And Iman, I did the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm going to do keto and just meat.
And it went straight up.
And on day 90, you would think, oh, this test is going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
But actually, the diversity on day 90 increased. 5 keystone bacteria showed up on day 90 that was not there on day 1, and then 7 core bacteria showed up. So it's
insane,
not what you
right?
think. Yeah, it's insane. It's not what you think.
It is so wild to me that you get fed this narrative or this manuscript that they're taught in school by medical systems and stuff. And then when you actually start practicing things on your own and try to like take your own health into your own hands, what you can discover.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you test it out. And look, if you have autoimmune disease, which hundreds of millions of, 100 million plus.
And women tend to have 2 or more.
Yeah, I mean, when you have one, you usually have more than one. Yeah, if you have autoimmune disease, the carnivore diet is incredible because these plant toxins, can I go into the plant toxins?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
These vegetables that we think are healthy, for a lot of people, they're inflaming your gut, they're triggering your autoimmune disease, and they're actually increasing your risk of cancer because when your immune system is so hyperactive because of autoimmunity, it can't target cancer cells and get rid of it. So these things slip through the cracks and all of a sudden cancer will grow in the future. So we think kale is healthy. We think spinach is healthy. We think these vegetables are healthy, but for a lot of people, they're not because they contain these anti-nutrients. See, plants, they don't have the ability to run away from a predator. They don't have teeth. They don't have claws. We do. So we could defend ourselves. Plants don't have that. So how do they survive? They develop plant toxins. So when a predator ate them, they swallow these plant toxins. They're called lectins, phytates, oxalates. There's 40 plus of them. The predator gets sick and doesn't eat that plant again.
Yeah.
We are the predator. We're eating a whole bunch of kale. We're doing kale smoothies and spinach omelets. And for a lot of people, it's creating intestinal permeability, leaky gut, and it's making their autoimmune worse. Enter carnivore. You eliminate that. You heal the gut. And it's not about avoiding it forever. It's about healing the gut, removing the toxins, rebuilding cell membranes.
Yeah.
Our friend Jess talks about that all the time. Then slowly bringing them back in.
Do you think carnivore is for everybody at certain stages of their life or where they are?
I think everybody can do a variation or a stint
Right.
of it, whether that's a day, 7 days, or, I don't think we should do carnivore long term. I don't agree
Cycle
with that.
it, yeah.
I think we should cycle it, especially women.
Yeah.
But, a stint of carnivore here and there, it's great. Meat, there's not one vegetable that has as many nutrients and minerals as red meat.
Absolutely.
It just doesn't compare.
Especially regenerative meat.
Especially, grass-fed, grass-finished, regenerative farms, exactly. There's not one vegetable that pales in comparison.
What is your one piece of advice for any vegetarians listening?
They don't like what I just shared. I have respect for anybody who, whatever dietary philosophy you follow. And even when I wrote Metabolic Freedom, there's options for vegans and vegetarians because I don't want to isolate them.
Yeah, I think veganism is the biggest scam out there. That's my 2 cents on the matter. I think it's a complete scam. Vegans are actually really unhealthy because they just end up eating a lot of fats, a lot of processed foods, and they're completely inflamed.
They do. They eat a lot of seed oils.
Yeah,
We should talk about seed
all
oils
the
a little bit
time.
later. If you're a vegetarian, it's better than being a vegan because depending on if you have like eggs or seafood, so that's
Yeah.
better. But look, if you're a vegetarian and you're watching and listening and you're thriving, you feel incredible, your lab work looks
Listen,
incredible,
that's
then don't
amazing.
listen to me.
Yeah.
Like, don't even eat the meat.
It works for your body.
It works for you.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're testing. But if you don't feel that great and your labs are showing that you're not looking that great, then I would say throw some red meat into the diet.
Right. What is one tip we can give to everybody listening to curb their appetite in a healthy way?
Protein.
Okay.
Yeah.
Start your day with protein.
Yeah, especially women. But
Yeah.
protein. So if you get at least 30 grams of protein at every meal, you activate muscle protein synthesis. But the reason why protein is important for somebody who struggles with cravings and somebody who wants to achieve satiety, protein is kind of like a GLP-1. Protein has these chemicals and not chemicals, these not hormones. They have these, they're called neurochemicals, but also stomach chemicals where cholecystokinin, leptin, peptide YY, these are chemicals that are activated in your body when you eat protein. That's what I was trying to say. And it signals to your stomach and to your brain, you're full, put down the fork.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. If you go to a restaurant, let's say, what's a good restaurant here in Miami? Makoto, we went to dinner.
we did.
Let's say we went to Makoto again, and I had like a 24-ounce ribeye. Pretty big.
Yeah, that's huge.
Huge, right? And the owner sees that I ate the whole ribeye, and he's like, I'm so impressed, Ben. I'm going to give you another ribeye on the house.
Yeah. Your stomach would be like, no, I'm
No
good.
way. I'm so full.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah,
way I
yeah.
can do this. But if
Yeah.
they bring the dessert tray,
Yeah.
I could fit that in
Yeah,
because
exactly.
the carbohydrates and sugar does not activate those chemicals and hormones.
right.
So you could overeat carbs. You can't overeat protein. So get protein, at least 30 grams at each meal. But if even better, if you're looking for more muscle building, 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight. So if your goal weight is like 120 pounds, you want 120 grams of protein.
And I think like I had JJ Virgin on the podcast and we were talking about it because that woman is in insane shape. She's
ripped. See those
I
arms?
just want to be JJ when I grow up.
Yes.
But she was telling me, it's a lot easier. And sometimes women, we get so overwhelmed, like being like, how are we going to get in all that protein? She's like, man, it's really not that hard if you're really intentional about it and you just don't make a big deal out of it.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
And you could always fill in the gaps with essential amino acids too.
Amino acids, a protein shake, kind of throw that stuff in there. Eggs are easy. So there's ways to get it in without making it feel like it's an absolute chore.
It's true. Yeah, and when you start calculating your protein, maybe you start inputting it like in a free calculator. It's not that difficult to hit your protein requirements. Like an 8 ounce of a steak.
Right.
I don't know the numbers on top of my head. It's probably like 70 grams of protein, right? Or 60 grams of protein. You eat that, twice
You're
and
set
you're
up.
good to go, depending on what your goal is. Yeah.
Now that you wrote Metabolic Freedom and then you're obviously still coaching people and you create content online as well. Do you still get people to cycle in and out of keto or are you getting them to be a little bit more strict with it? Because there's always new research coming out and more information coming out. So what is your stance still on that?
Still a fan of keto flexing,
Okay.
going in and out. So there's a 30-day plan in chapter 12, and it incorporates in the book I call it metabolic flexing, but it's similar to keto flexing in the previous book. So yes, I think it's important for many reasons, for hormonal conversions, to prevent plateaus. I love keto. I went deep into it with you last time.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I still love it. I think it's a very valuable tool, but it's not something you stay in forever.
Right.
You cycle, you go in and out. That's where you get the benefits. It's so important to do that. This 30-day plan, I posted a YouTube video about it before the book came out, and just to kind of test out the waters on YouTube to see if it was a success. And the video crushed, but there was a guy who followed it. And yeah, he was a guy, not a woman, but he followed it. And he lost 44 pounds in 30 days.
Shut
following
up.
this. And he was like tagging me on his name is John Miller. I'll give him a shout out. He was tagging me saying day 3, day 7. This guy just shed a whole bunch of weight.
Wow.
Blood pressure improved, blood sugars improved. It was absolutely incredible.
And what is in the plan? So walk us through what people can expect. They're like, hey, I'm going to go buy the book. What is in the plan? Ben, tell us.
So there's 2 different adventures. There's a beginner plan if you're brand new to this. And then if you're already doing biohacking, keto, fasting, or you're already metabolically flexible, there's an advanced plan. So you kind of choose your adventure. The beginner plan, which most people who pick up the book are beginners, they're going to first get fat adapted. So we're going to lower their carbs slowly, increase healthy fats and proteins. I tell you what to eat, what to remove. We're going to take minerals. We're going to supplement with electrolytes to keep the minerals up. And we're going to shift you into burning stored fat within 7 days. Once we do that, then we start doing intermittent fasting. And we start very gentle, 14 hours, then 16 hours.
And
then
same for men and women?
in the beginning, yes. Yes, it is. It's short enough for it not to have to be customized. It's only 30 days. Once we go long term, then it's customized for men versus women, but it's just 30 days. By week 3, we start rotating fasting days and feasting days. Fasting days and feast. It's kind of alternate day fasting. We create this rotation and change. We're also focusing on protein. I'm also suggesting different biohacks that I do, like 11 minutes of cold exposure each week, an hour and a half of like sauna each week, 10,000 steps a day, apple cider vinegar before a meal. So all these little biohacks that I know just move the needle a little bit. By the 4th week, you're metabolically flexing, where you're having higher healthy carb days, a couple days out of the week, going back to fasting. So it's changed. Every week is changed to kind of guide you. I hold your hand, and there's a whole bunch of recipes at the back of the book as well.
What are some of your favorite recipes in there? What's your personal favorite that you're like, I can't get enough of this?
You know, what's funny with the recipes is I don't like to cook.
So is your girlfriend doing all the cooking?
She doesn't cook that much either.
So wait, what are you doing here?
It's like, I know. I just cook steak and I'm good to go.
But listen, that's amazing.
I don't like to cook and I don't really care about recipes and books, honestly, but people love it.
Of course they do,
So-
yes. By the way, I hate cooking.
Yeah, you
Like,
hate
I'm
cooking
just-
too. So you're with
I
me.
just don't care.
So I worked with the
no.
food journalist for 6 months to make sure it fit my guidelines.
Okay.
But I don't make the recipes in here, just to be clear. But they're amazing recipes.
They're
so
really tasty.
for me, it's just ribeye steak with butter. It's very simple. And some sea salts. Like you give that to me every day, I'm good to go.
I love food, but I don't want to be doing the cooking.
Same.
I'm like, just give me what I need. Give it to me in a plate. Be like, this is your
That's
protein
it.
for each meal and call it a day and let's move on from there.
I'm with you.
As someone who's testing and I was retesting for what works for my gut, immune system, and hormonal health, I definitely do not mess around with any probiotics that die before they even reach my gut. So this little guy, Just Thrive, is completely different. It is clinically proven to arrive 100% alive, survives antibiotics, and even helps to heal leaky gut in just 30 days. It beats bloat, helps with nutrition absorption, and turns your gut into an antioxidant factory. And it's the only probiotic I trust and recommend to my Biohack-it community. Check it out at justthrivehealth.com and use code Biohack-it for a discount and enjoy. I wanted to talk about this concept of emotional inflammation.
Yeah.
Because you kind of mentioned it as well. So how would you describe emotional inflammation? How is somebody listening able to pick up on it, that you are emotionally inflamed?
Yeah, this is really important. Again, going back to chapter 10, it's my favorite one in there.
Yeah,
It talks
it's
about
like a
this
10 out of
concept.
10.
Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10. Exactly. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
I make the case that your thoughts and your mind is very, very powerful. It could work for you or against you. So I share a story at the beginning of chapter 10. I'm going to share it now because it really illustrates how important those thoughts are. This is a true story from the 1960s. I got it from Bob Proctor, and it was in the newspaper. And it was about a railroad employee, and he was working inside of a train. And he worked inside of the refrigerator cart inside of this train. He was working late one night, and he didn't realize it was past the time he was supposed to clock out. All of his coworkers left for the night. He tries to open up that door and go home. They locked him in. And it was cold. It was in the refrigerator cart. He knew nobody was showing up to the next morning. So his thoughts started to get the best of him, as you would imagine.
Yeah, of
so
course.
he was banging on that door, screaming help. Nobody was around. So he started documenting his night on the wall. He was writing on the wall. And at 12 a.m., he wrote the words, "I'm stuck, I'm freezing, I don't know if I'm gonna survive tonight." 1 a.m., he wrote the words, "Still stuck, temperature keeps dropping, I'm freezing to death." 3 a.m., "Can barely move, I'm shivering, I'm gonna die." 7 a.m. comes around, his coworkers now come back to work and clock in. They open up the refrigerator cart, and the man died. Hypothermia, he froze to death.
Oh.
Here was the interesting thing about the story. When they investigated the temperature apparatus that this guy was looking at, it was malfunctioning for weeks, and it never dropped below 55 degrees
So
Fahrenheit.
he psyched himself out basically to death.
His thoughts literally killed him. If your thoughts can do that, do you think your thoughts could heal you? The answer is 100%, right? So emotional inflammation is having those toxic thoughts. What Zig Ziglar used to say, stinking thinking. And in the book, I say, if your thinking is stinking, your health is shrinking. And Dr. Bruce Lipton has proven that your thoughts are a frequency that communicate with every single cell. And if it's a negative thought, hateful thought, angry thought, bitter thought, because you're watching the news all day and you're just all that fear porn that's on the news, all of those thoughts are sending signals to your cells to produce inflammatory proteins, which damages your DNA and shortens your lifespan. But if it's a healthy thought, loving thought, grateful thought, abundant thought, same signal sent to the DNA, but now it produces anti-inflammatory proteins. It protects your DNA and it extends your lifespan. And the average person has 60,000 thoughts a day. So that means we have 60,000 opportunities to put the body in a healing state every single day. And to me, that's the greatest biohack that I could ever learn.
What about people who numb themselves and don't want to deal with like any negative thoughts or any negative emotions or unpack their shit, like I would say?
Yeah. Well,
then what's happening to the body then?
Yeah. When you keep, like, there's a rug right here. If there was like a whole bunch of shit there and a broom and I just kept sweeping it underneath the rug, after 3 years, like there's still a whole bunch of shit there.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. It's just buried under the rug. Yeah.
Over time, it's going to explode. And what's going to happen is your nervous system is going to be dysregulated. You will create disease, whether it's cancer, heart disease, whatever the body will manifest. Yeah. So it's just a matter of time when you keep suppressing. Suppression leads to depression. Expression leads to the lack of disease. So you actually heal your body. So the person who's suppressing it, numbing themselves, and that was me for a very long time. Yeah. You're not doing any. It's a short-term sort of numbing solution or gratification. Till your body can no longer do it. And you need to numb yourself even more, and it just opens up a door for other toxic behaviors.
What do you think for you when you were going through this and not living authentically with yourself and numbing your thoughts? What was the biggest breakthrough for you? Like what kind of cracked you open and you looked at yourself and said, I don't want to live like this anymore? And then you started on your path of healing and discovered more of your authentic self and then came to write these incredible books and be a keynote speaker. Like where was that pivot?
I had to hit rock bottom. I was on, 24 years old when most people were starting their career, graduating college, maybe starting a family. I was on the internet looking for ways to end my life. Yeah. And I would have done it if it wasn't for my mom. Now, she didn't know I was doing this, but I kept thinking about her. I didn't want her to be so devastated for me taking my life, so that stopped me from doing it. I had to hit rock bottom to figure things out. I started studying Dr. Wayne Dyer, and Dr. Wayne Dyer, he taught me what the word responsibility means. And he said, responsibility is your ability to respond to life. If your ability to respond to life is poor, like you're the victim, blaming other people, blaming your genetics, blaming the government, whatever it is, you get poor results. But when you take ownership and your responsibility is great, you get great results. So I took ownership. I took responsibility. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wasn't going to take my life. I had to hit rock bottom to make a change. Yeah. Hopefully you don't have to, if somebody watching this doesn't have to go through that. You start to surround yourself with people. You change your environment, you'll change your life. And that's what I did. Yeah. That's a better route than hitting rock bottom. Absolutely. Change your environment. Just keep listening to the Biohack-it podcast, going to these conferences. Surround yourself with people that believe in you, inspire you, that are healthy, and you'll be the next person. But if your environment is toxic, you're going to be stuck in that environment. When you hang around 5 people that are unhealthy, broke, watching the news all day, you're going to be the 6th person.
It's just emotionally draining.
It's so draining. They're gossiping all day. Yeah, it's just not.
And breaking you down.
Exactly.
And looking at your life now, I know you always say vitamin G is your biggest gift. You always say that at conferences when we've been on panels together. Can we talk about that a little bit, about like how that's changed your life? Yeah,
I love that you remember that. Vitamin G, chapter 10, I talk about it. So vitamin G, before
it's gonna be my favorite chapter, Ben.
It's my favorite chapter. Vitamin G, before I share what it is, let's not give it away yet because somebody's listening. They're already trying to go on Amazon looking for it. So vitamin G is anti-inflammatory. It regulates the nervous system, increases HRV, which we were talking about earlier. Great for fat loss, great for autoimmune.
Yeah.
Dr. Joe Dispenza has done brain scans on individuals who took vitamin G. He saw 1,200 chemical reactions take place that really heal the body, heal the brain. There's a UC Davis study that looked at those who took vitamin G, and it showed they had healthier blood pressure, healthier blood sugar levels. And there's a study, a brand new study that I haven't shared with you before from Harvard that was published in JAMA on vitamin G, which looked at 49,275 nurses. Talk about a study.
Whoa.
And it showed the nurses who took vitamin G every day had a 9% reduction in dying from all-cause mortality versus the nurses who didn't take vitamin G, and a 15% reduction in dying from cardiovascular disease versus the nurses who didn't take vitamin G. Another one quick study on the mitochondria, which we know is very important. This study looked at something called the MHI, Mitochondrial Health Index, and it looked at caregivers. You know, caregivers, they have a stressful life. That's a very difficult job. And it looked at their mitochondrial health in the morning, and it looked at the nurses, the caregivers, that took vitamin G at night versus the caregivers who didn't take vitamin G. And it showed the caregivers who took vitamin G at night had healthier mitochondria the next morning. Okay, your audience is already on Amazon. They're looking in the show notes.
What is vitamin G?
Do you have a coupon code? I don't, because vitamin G is the feeling of gratitude. Every single study I just shared is on gratitude. But notice how I said not the practice of gratitude, the feeling.
Feeling of gratitude.
There's a big difference. Gratitude is not an intellectual practice. It's not a checklist. Gratitude is a feeling. And when you feel it, you get all those benefits. You support your mitochondria. You boost oxytocin. You lower stress. I live it. You live it. The more you appreciate something, it appreciates. It's a universal law. So I always say what you think about, you will bring about in your life.
I feel like vitamin G gratitude is something that the more you breathe into it, the more you know you are alive. That's how I really it's the gift of truly being alive.
I love that.
That is when I think about how I kind of when I started Biohack-it or when I started incorporating more of that into my life, even on really stressful days, I'm like, I'm good.
I love
it. I can sit with myself. I feel really good, warm and fuzzy inside. And then that echoes out and creates this almost ripple into my life. And then more good things come in, even on the really shittiest day. And it's like, it's okay. Don't worry about this because this is what's going to come through for you.
I love it. That's it. You rewire your brain to see the good, even in obstacles. And if you could feel gratitude during the most challenging times, I know you recently lost your dog and you've been through some challenges. I saw your post with your, what you posted the other day. When you can find blessings in those stressings, that's when you really master gratitude.
And then you really know that you're living authentically to yourself because you acknowledge when things go wrong, but then you're also there to pick up the pieces for yourself when things are going really right.
That's right. I love it.
I know you said something briefly about the brain, so I want to talk about that. So I know you talk about this in your book as well. A lot of people since 2020 have been suffering from things like brain fog and burnout and stress. What could they be doing metabolically and with their diet to decrease brain fog that you think has worked extremely well?
They need to regulate their insulin levels. Right. Insulin is the major player there. And they're calling these brain disorders type 3 diabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, which is all on the rise. It's really sad. It's when the receptor sites for insulin in the brain get inflamed from constant usage. It's called type 3 diabetes. So insulin is the name of the game here. Most people don't test their insulin levels. Yeah. It's pretty rare. I mean, we test it in our space, functional medicine space. But the average person hasn't even heard of a fasting insulin test. They don't even know what it is. They've heard of a fasting glucose and A1C. Those are great tests. But studies show, and I put a study in the book called the Whitehall Study 2 that showed you could have insulin resistance for 6 to 14 years without your blood sugars changing.
How is that possible?
Because your pancreas is so busy producing massive amounts of insulin to clear the excess glucose, and your blood sugars look okay because the massive amounts of insulin is being produced until it can no longer do it. It's like the analogy is like
pancreas just give up and they're like,
they give up.
Yeah,
they stop listening.
Yeah.
The analogy is like when somebody has children and they scream at their kids for the first time, "Go clean your room," right? That's like insulin shouting.
Yeah.
They're going to listen at first because mom shouted or dad shouted. But if they keep shouting at the kids for 5 years, they're going to stop listening. Same thing. If you keep producing massive amounts of insulin, the cells stop listening. That leads to elevated glucose, which leads to brain fog, inflammation, weight gain, weight loss resistance, accelerated aging. I could go on and on. It's the first domino to fall that leads to chronic disease. So how do you lower insulin? That's the question. Muscle mass, the more muscle mass you have, the more insulin sensitive you are. Going for a 10 to 30 minute walk after all meals or after your biggest meal has a 30% reduction in that postprandial glucose, meaning 30% less insulin needs to be produced. Taking 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar with water, diluted with water, 30 minutes before your biggest meal helps your body regulate the glucose and produce less insulin. Getting quality sleep, ketosis, fasting, sprinting, these are all cold exposure, sauna, these are all great ways to regulate insulin.
And how do you know that if you're a candidate for all of these different things, right? Because we talked right at the beginning of the podcast about if you're already somebody who's going through stress, especially as a woman, you don't want to put additional stressors onto your body. So where should you be starting?
With the foundations.
Okay.
Sleep, gratitude, movement, purpose, protein. That's it. Those are the foundations right there.
HRV, raising your HRV.
Yeah, recovery. I guess recovery, and that would be in the HRV category. That also fits into the sleep category.
Yeah.
Master the
basics.
The basics, the majors, the fundamentals. Then you're going to be healthier, and then you could add in the cold plunge if you want. You could add in the sauna, and you're going to adapt to it, and you're going to feel healthy. You know, it really, I don't get upset a lot, but it frustrates me. It's a better word.
Yeah.
In this, our biohacking space that I'm a part of, you're a part of, people don't understand what Hormesis is.
Oh, no. Not at all.
They don't understand. They think, okay, Ben Greenfield does a 20-minute plunge or Gary Brecka does a 20-minute plunge. I'm going to do it too. They violate Hormesis. They get inflamed.
Absolutely.
And, you know, there are 2 people I know of. I know a doctor, Dr. Rob Kamenarek. Do you know Dr. Rob?
Yeah.
He told me he has 2 patients that had a stroke from cold plunge.
It's like ridiculous, right? How far are you pushing your body?
It's too much.
And I also feel that people get so overwhelmed and hyped up on this space, they forget that you need to start with the basics.
That's right.
Get in touch with your emotional body. Start with the sleep. Start with the food. Start with breathing. Most of us are not even breathing correctly. We're shallow breathing versus really breathing into our stomachs, and we don't even realize it.
It's true.
You know, start with things that are simple and then work your way up and create safety for your body. Because when your body doesn't feel safe, how are you going to feel good?
That's right, 100%. I agree.
I am just so excited I got you back on the podcast, and we went through Metabolic Freedom, and I got to dive a little bit deeper into all the incredible research you've been doing while you were hiding from me for like literally the last couple of years.
You've been traveling the world, to be fair.
I've been traveling a lot. For anybody listening, is there anything else we want to tell the audience that you thought was an incredible piece of research that you came across, or some information that they should know and apply to their life?
Yes. So I hear so many people say that their body is broken, it's working against them, and they have hate for their body. Our friend, Dr. Will Cole, said something a long time ago, 2017, I think he first said this. He said, you cannot heal a body you hate. I love that. You know, when we have so much hate for the body, or we think it's not broken. The body's not broken. It's just being interfered with. If you identify the interference, remove it, the body will heal. Whether you're 20, 30, 70, 90, God built the body to be self-healing.
Absolutely.
Our job is to remove the interference and let this innate intelligence go and heal the body. My space, not the website MySpace, but my space, meaning like my niche here, is fat loss. A lot of people come to me on YouTube and they want to lose weight. And what I say in the book is that, you know, we don't lose weight to get healthy. We get healthy to lose weight. There's a big difference. When you're looking to just lose weight, you're looking at the symptom, meaning nobody has a weight problem. I used to be obese. I never had a weight problem.
You had a health problem.
It's a weight symptom and it's a health problem. Exactly. It's a hormone problem. It's an inflammatory problem. If you just look at the symptom, which is the weight gain, and treat that with cutting calories, GLP-1s, you're not going to get healthy.
Yeah.
When you get healthy, the weight comes off as a side effect. So get healthy. Focus on hormones. Focus on inflammation. Remove the interference. The body will heal. It always will. 100%. It'll always heal itself as long as you remove that inflammation and interference.
That's such a good way to look at things, because I think people focus on the wrong things because society, media has programmed us to do that. Like there's The Biggest Loser Ever. Do you remember that TV show?
Yeah, I talk about it in the book, yeah.
They're focusing on the wrong stuff.
That's right.
They're not focusing on your core foundational health, which is what you need to be looking at, not how many pounds you're losing on the scale.
That's right. Yeah, because the weight comes off as a side effect of being healthy.
Yeah.
So you focus on non-scale victories, your energy levels, the way your clothes fit, those lab markers we spoke about earlier.
And your mood.
And your mood, your energy, your recovery, your sleep, your happiness, all that, yes.
Thank you, Ben. I just adore you, and thank you for coming back onto the podcast and sharing the book. And I think we should do a giveaway for the book.
Let's do it.
I think we should do it, get everybody involved, and this is so amazing. We need to take this out into the world.
I love it. Let's do a giveaway. Thank you for interviewing me again.
No,
So
my
happy to see
pleasure.
your success with the podcast and your growth and
Thank you.
doing some great things in this world. So many more collaborations between us.
Yes.
I'm grateful for today as well.
You're going to Saudi with me.
That's
so-
right. We're going Zeno's Health Summit. Shout out to
Exactly.
Zeno's Health Summit. Yes.
So we're going to be doing that. Thank you for coming on to Biohack-it again and bringing this incredible book to life.
Thank you, Iman. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to Biohack-it. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a short review. It really helps us reach more listeners just like you. Follow us on Instagram at biohack-it for exclusive content and the latest updates. Remember, your health is in your hand and curiosity heals.